Well, we have the technology. It's just that the oil companies, the hydrocarbons don't want this released at this point in time. However, if I'm president, this will be mainstream. I'll get up and I'll announce it to the world. I've already completely mapped out a complete program on the construction of the contracts, communication skills, making Nikola Tesla coils mandatory globally. Ships at sea could be powered by coils run on electricity. Oil would never have to be transported again. Oil is relevant because we can have tar for roads, but then concrete is safer because you don't have all the off poisons leaking out of the asphalt. Cars could be run on lithium thoride batteries, which have a 400-mile cruise range for every car battery size technology. Now with the new discovery in Colombia of the new lithium pool, there's more than enough for the next 300 years for all the cars on the planet. And there'll be more advanced technologies coming out. You can go with silver mercury with thoride, which is even 10 times more powerful than that. It's highly pollutionary because of the mercury, though. But there's other molecules that we can, utilize. Yeah.
Will you need an ambassador to the Cayman Islands?
For what?
Well, I'm just volunteering.
What, you like the sunny weather? Hey, Indiana's great. I lived here for 20 years. Yes.
You were talking about the technology. I was listening to Russell Gould the other day. He was talking about if somebody has technology like that, to come to you guys, if you guys can help bring that out to mass market. So
yeah, we have people that have developed, like Bill Martz up in Canada. Miller is his name, Bill Miller, in Canada, Edmonton, Canada, developed a perpetual motion motor. And this goes back about 10 years ago. And I walked into his shop along with 20 of my other students from the seminar. He invited us over to his house and he showed us this motor. The thing was 3 feet in diameter, had a 180-pound armature, 0 to 1,860 RPMs in 2 seconds. That's some serious torque. And then after it come up to speed, he disconnected it. It's hanging by nylon ropes in air with a dozen 100-watt light bulbs that he turns on and then accelerates the speed of it. And this thing's putting out 60% more electricity than it's generating. Because what he had done was the series of magnets, along with the coils, were set up in a harmonic frequency to follow the sine wave. You guys okay with this? Yeah. Okay. See, when you can syntax is the most powerful tool in the world, just so you know. Okay, use your standard sine wave. And if you're going to do harmonics, then you're going to go see, this here would be your 44,000 cycles per second. This is the electromagnetic pulse from the sun, based on the nuclear explosions from the sun. And we're showered at 44,000 cycles per second. And this one here would be 22,000. This hump here would then be 22,000, and this here would be 110,000. The point is that you take your sine wave and you step it down from your coils into 60 hertz. And then as you step down your cycles, you increase your amperage and bring it down into a usable voltage. So you have a primary, secondary, and a harness power which you cut off in substations. The initial voltage would be running out at probably 25,000 on your big lines, which are your big high 100-foot tall power lines, and then also be subbed off into 660 volts, 440, 220, three-phase, down to single phase, 110s for your houses, stuff like that. It's all basic electronics. I've been in electronics my whole life. I was building TVs when I was 18, my first laser at 12, and I even built my own perpetual motion motor at 16. So when Mark showed me his, I said, what you've done is you've hit 1,860 RPMs, you have a harmonic resonance within your electromagnetic fields. As your motor turns, you got your series of magnets, primary, offset by your secondary fields, which are then looping in that manner all the way through, going all the way back to the beginning. And then what you're doing is taking this electromagnetic pulse from the sun and you're matching it up to your power source here. These are permanent magnets and coils. And these were only ceramic magnets. If you go to rare earth magnets, which are 5 times more powerful, I've got one at home that's about the size of this little middle of the pen here, and it picks up 3 pounds. Just give you an idea how powerful some of these little tiny magnets are in rare earth. And so he's using rare earth magnets set off by these these are superconductor coils. This isn't copper, isn't silver, it isn't gold. These superconductor coils are what's called a eutectic metal that is 60 times more efficient than a gold winding. If silver is 60, I mean if copper is a 60 on 100 factor, and silver is a 90 and gold is 100, then a superconductor would be 3,000. Generates no heat, and it's really efficient using this technology as the loop, matching this up and harnessing the 44,000 cycles per second. This is in a motor scenario. The other one in coil is just taking the coil, capturing it. So you take electricity flows at 95,000 miles per second. Speed of light is 180,000 miles per second, exactly twice that. Here's the Milky Way galaxy. We're out here. Here's the center. This is a black hole. So the further you get away from, this number changes. Right now we're at a constant where we're located in the Milky Way galaxy. This is all understanding astrophysics. But you take 95,000 miles per second divided by 44,000. So 44 goes in 2. So each winding of the coil has to be 2,000. This is in miles, and this is in frequency. So you got 22,000 miles has to be divided into whatever hertz you're going to be running. So this would be, if you're going to run a 60 hertz, which is above frequency, but you probably want to be in the 660 range hertz, divided in there. So you'd have about a 30-foot length of wire for each coil. And then you link those together to create the main coil to produce the frequency. A 12-inch diameter coil, about 8 feet tall, would put out about an 18-foot spark at 25,000 volts per inch. And you could stand in the middle of it like you see Nikola Tesla. And I got Joseph, he's my buddy, he's built 3 of these, and he's standing there with 18 feet of sparks coming out of his body. Pretty cool. But they're all high-frequency sparks. But still, this is the science that goes behind it and how you work out the math on it to build a coil. Once the coils are installed with no moving parts, you guys could heat, cool, run your cars for 1 cent per kilowatt, which would be free electricity. No more hydrocarbons, no more pollution. 24-hour-a-day lighting. The population is at 8 billion. For every one born, one has to die of starvation based on our current ability to create food. With this technology, you will have 24-hour-a-day of plant light to grow unlimited amount of plants, up to 100 million people on the planet to feed them. using airborne horticulture towers, which run on mineral sprays into the roots. All the roots are just exposed to mineral spray atmospheres with 24-hour-a-day ultraviolet lighting, which would produce, in a room like this here, you could make as much food as you would in 40 acres of land using this technology with 24-hour-a-day of sunlight energy with this technology. Be basically free food. They do it at Disney World, at Epcot. They've got a whole center that's dedicated to these sciences. If you've been down there to see it, that's really, really cool. The Chinese are doing it all over the place in China because of their food population density. So technology exists, they just got to apply it. Question?
Also, could you raise more food if you would use genetically modified seed?
Yeah, Monsanto's got all that stuff going on in their chemtrails out there, which is made out of aluminum oxide, which creates a special condition in the soil which only their seeds will grow. And that's to control the food, because you control the food, you control the people. And every time you look up and you see all those chemtrails, all your commercial airlines have 5 to 7 little tubes that stick out at the end of the wing. 2 of them are sprayers to keep the chemicals in the toilet area of the plane, because nobody wants to go digging around in the toilet. And that's where they do the change out. When a plane lands, they take out the old pollution, they put in the Monsanto chemicals, and then they spray it out from the wings when you see a plane going over. When a plane goes over and leaves a little trail behind it about 1,000 feet long, that's just vapor because of the temperature change at 65 below zero with jet fuel, and that's gone in a second. If it's a chemtrail, it's there permanently because it's a hard chemical of aluminum oxide.
Yeah, there about a week ago, I've never seen so many, what was it, about a week ago?
In the morning.
I mean, they were, as long as you could see, they were.
Now there's
Boston all over.
now there's a second side to this. It's true we have the chemtrails. But if ET is here that is unfriendly and the chemtrails are a specific type of spray that creates an environment that is harmful to an invasive species from another planet that cannot exist within this chemtrail field, then they're doing it as a global defense mechanism, not alerting the people. It might come out sometime in the future, but right now the cover story is it's aluminum oxide used for controlling the food and the planting scenarios of the world. The other second story would be the ET issue, creating an environment that doesn't taste right so that ET can't invade the planet. I mean, we've been sending out radio signals for 75 years now, so somebody's out there looking. So there might be some good side or bad side to it. Question?
Talking about ETs, where did we come from before we were here, or before we are here?
Your mother and father, of course. No, it's, I can't answer that because I wasn't there. And that's the correct answer, by the way. Next question.
I have a question about, where did you get your information about the world existing 110,000 years?
I wasn't there. Who said it existed 110,000 years?
Well, I thought you said, earlier you said about 110,000 years ago or something like that.
No, I said 50,000 years ago we had an ice age, and that's where the carbon dating comes from the spacecraft up there. That's all I said. As far as, we had dinosaurs, and we know 385 was it 385 million years ago when the asteroid hit the Yucatan, took out the dinosaurs, created a fireball that went around the world because it ignited the hydrogen and oxygen atmosphere. There was a lot of methane back then too. Dinosaurs make a lot of methane.
Well, are those dating methods accurate, and how do they know that?
Oh, it's in layers. It's in layers of the Earth. I have one of the largest megalodon shark's teeth in the world in my collection. The biggest one I know is at the Smithsonian Institute, which is 6 1/4 inch shark's tooth. I have a 5 3/4 inch shark's tooth from a 330-foot long Megalodon shark with a bite radius of 18 feet. The saline is only 12 feet. So we're talking about a mouth that could take, it would be from this wall, from this divider to that wall, big around, and the teeth are all just shy of 6 inches apiece, and they're all razor sharp, and this is a 99% pristine tooth. It's got a little chip, little tiny chip about the size of a head of a pin on one side of it. And the tooth was found at 11,600 feet in Denver, Colorado, or actually Central City, Colorado, at a gold mine. And it came to me through the Denver International Airport, through a collector. And because I knew what it was, I knew where it came from, and I knew the history and all that kind of stuff, I bought it. I paid $500 for it. It's worth probably around $1,200 right now to any collector. Good investment if you ever find some big ones like that. They were digging. Here's another one about this specific topic. Tarpon Springs, Florida, 20 miles north of Clearwater, Florida, north of Tampa. If you want to they put a canal in 2,000 feet from the ocean in to build a subdivision with water. When they got back about 600 feet into the canal, they hit a cache of over 900 teeth that were 4.5 to 5 inches. And these teeth were all worth about $500 a piece. And the workers got paid more money for the shark's teeth in that cache that they found from one shark than they did in all the money to build a whole entire subdivision. So, and you go down to, if you want shark's teeth, you go to Naples. And Fort Myers is where people dive for shark's teeth, and they get 2 or 3 inches shark teeth. They're in the sand, you can sift for them. As divers, about 20 feet of water. Sharks have been going there for millions of years and dying and leaving their teeth behind. Yeah.
Back to the chemtrails, what will be done to stop it, clean it up?
Coils. Of course, we've got to find out what the cross is, and I guess only the president and a few other men in black know about things like that.
So when you become president, who's going to teach us this stuff? Or who's going to teach the people?
Oh, I will. I'll get up on CNN. I guarantee I'll have a world audience. Of course, you put this video up on YouTube or MySpace or Facebook or whatever. The world's going to see it anyways. So, and every time we do a seminar, they videotape it and they throw it up on the internet. So there's plenty of stuff up there to study from. Yeah.
What's going on at the Denver airport?
Denver International Airport, for those who've ever been in Denver International Airport, that little puppy's made out of Kevlar. That's the roof. Looks pretty, don't it? Except it's all jointed, so it can all collapse and be flat on the ground. Now, underneath the Denver International Airport is a 1 cubic mile holding facility for 860,000 troops. It goes down in the mountain, and that's why there's a complete zone of about 6 miles completely surrounding the airport. And that's controlled by cameras and all kinds of other little surprises to protect that facility. And that's why it's way out in the middle of nowhere as nothing. They want to use that. They want to move the White House to the center of the United States, which is Denver. And Cheyenne Mountain, right now is a museum, but Falcon, that's it. Fort Falcon Mountain is where the new Cheyenne Mountain enter of SAC is existing. And they want to move our government into that location because of the safety. Right now, you can bring a submarine in under stealth right into the Potomac, and it's like 1 minute, you know. Everybody remembers the 4.5 or 4.7 earthquake in South Carolina? That was a 20 megaton nuke that went off underground about, I want to say 1,500 feet underground. That was and when they detonated those 2 nukes up in North Korea, same seismic graph. Look at all the seismographic history of every nuke that was ever detonated underground. It's all the same number. They were moving one underground, and it went off. And it was just an earthquake, and it shook Washington. Yeah.
back to you about running for president. Said the last 47 were left-handed.
Yep.
I've seen you writing right-handed.
Oh, boy. It's a good thing there's two pens up here. I got a little trouble with those bees yet. Come on, Dave, get your head together. Think. I did that wrong.
Why are you writing cursive?
It says, we the unknown, led by the unknowing, are doing the impossible for the ungrateful. We've been doing so much for so long with so little, we're not qualified to do anything with nothing. So, I can, okay. Oops, wrong way. Yeah. Okay? I can do it frontwards, backwards, both hands, both directions. I just run out of words there, that's all. I got to do it in cursive, though. I can't do it upside down yet. I'm working on that. I had a guy in Salt Lake City who came to me and says, that's good, Dave. He says, but I can do it upside down, too. And he did it frontwards, backwards, both hands, both directions, and he did it, then he started doing it all upside down. I'm going like, I got to stand on my head to do it upside down. Can't do it that way. Okay, why did all this happen? Okay, why am I ambidextrous like this? Well, it's because, like I told you, I died when I was 25 years old. They took out my adrenal glands. What happened next was, they said, you can't be alive because you don't have adrenaline. I'm going, okay, I'll buy that. Why are we having this conversation then? He says, your blood chemistry came back with 60 times more endorphins than you should have in your system, which makes me jacked happy and calm 24/7, right? Well, the endorphin of amino acid is the same one that's used for the brain as food. So my neurons started multiplying because they had 60 times more food than normal. And my IQ exponentialized itself from 140 up to over 200 now, and it keeps going up all the time because of this super amount of food for the brain. And I'm always calm. Then you go ahead, and they said, why can you do that? Well, what happened is when the neurons started multiplying, they grew together. The movie Phenomena with John Travolta, where he has brain cancer of a fibristic cell, fibristic cancer. Well, my brain started growing neurons to a point where my two hemispheres grew together, so I have one brain. I see left and right simultaneously. I read 400 words a second, math codes from right to left, and I read words from left to right, and I syntax at the same time. I can't see, talk, or do anything without completely syntaxing it and writing it in the correct format in my brain as fast as I do it in fiction, both ways. It just happens. And I've been doing it for so long, for 12 years now, efficiently. And so anybody gets in my face about anything, I will give you a complete history lesson going back to the beginning of time and showing you things that are supposed to be.